So I probably should have talked to Una and John, and I don't know if you're able to control the mute and unmute, and we'll try to make sure we control it a little bit. But after some slides, after each slide, I did kind of want to have some either thoughts or questions. And there's a difference between thoughts and questions, right? Questions end in a question mark. Thoughts end in a period. And they're two different things. So sometimes I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts? And I'd like to hear what you have to say, or what are you thinking? I really want us to spurn on being creative, being learning ways of being creative, how we can grow membership. And so there's a lot of good brain power out here in this room today. So sometimes I'll ask for thoughts, sometimes I'll ask for questions. So let's talk about our current situation here in District 7390. Now, when I was president, I wasn't district membership chair at the time. I know that in 2016, we had 44 clubs, and I don't remember what the membership was at that point. But there is a trend that is happening. 2018, 43 clubs, 2,311 members. And then in 2019, 42 clubs, 2,278. That's a decline of 1.5%. Then in 2020, we 42 clubs and 2,108 members. That's a minus 4%. So if in many of the membership seminars that I've been a part of, one of the things that we're learning is that in the United States, we're in trouble. We're flatlining. We're not trending down a little bit, but we're not going up. In other areas, Rotary is growing. But here in the United States, we have a little bit of a problem. We need to address it. And there's a lot of clubs out here that are in District 7390 that really need to, take a look and think about what they want to be. One of the things that you want to decide that you need to kind of take a look. Again, I'm going to assume that all of you are leaders in your club. I mean, you're here, so you have influence. Your leaders. So one of the questions that we asked in our club is like, what do we want to see ourselves in 3 to 5 years? So you need to ask, what vision do you have for your club? What is special about your club? And what does your club do well? And think about those things and think about what it is for future planning, what it is that you want to be. All right, so tip number 1, and these are the top 10 tips for growing Rotary membership. Tip number 1 is make membership a priority. Make it your club's top priority. It's when you have a cohesive group going towards one goal, any type of roadblocks that you encounter can easily be overcome when you remember what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what your goal is. And when it's collective, it's very, very powerful. So as leadership, whether you're a membership chair in your club or a president or serve on the board, whatever it is, if you have a passion for growing Rotary, you're a champion. And that's what we need to find in these clubs is find champions, find a champion, and better yet, find champions, and ultimately have a membership committee. So you create that goal and then you need to share it. And you need to share that with your club. Who in your club is passionate about growing Rotary? Identify them. Because of your attendance here tonight, you might be that champion, but don't do it alone. Find other people in your club that you identify with, that you can identify that have a passion for growing Rotary, or even just a passion for Rotary and have the ability and the know-how how to share it. So a couple of different things that you could do within your club as far as bringing its awareness to your club is a membership minute. Having a membership minute in all of your meetings. What are you doing to grow Rotary? New members bring new energy. One of the things that I heard with one of the membership minutes, I believe it's a little bit later on in my presentation, is one club had a membership month. And for each week, each member was tasked with bringing a name on a piece of paper of a potential Rotary member. So, in the amount of time of 1 month, you have a whole lot of people that appear on a list of someone that you can that you can approach about being a member. More on that in a little bit later. So one of the first things that you want to do with your club, and hang on with me because my screen is just not quite showing. So create a list of all the great things about your club. You know, write it all down, the service projects, the district grants, the global grants, the support for your community gifts, whether they're small or large, the fundraisers that you do. You know, all those different things, and think about over the last 3 to 5 years, all the different things that you do. Make a list. I know our club, we did that the year prior to, that I was president, because we really needed to bring awareness to our club that, wow, when we sit down and we talk about these things, we do a lot. We have a lot to be proud of about what we do for our community, things that we can share with our community about what we do as a club. So make sure you're sharing that with your members. I mean, you know, if the board puts this all together or somebody in your club puts all this together, make sure you're sharing that. And we did that at our club prior to the year that I was president. Make sure you're sharing all those different things that you do. They're impactful. They make a difference. Celebrate them in your meetings. You know, everybody in your club, and part of the reason why you're sharing them is so that when your Rotary disciples are out there talking about Rotary, they can easily, off the top of their head, talk about all the wonderful things that your club does. And that could resonate with the right person that they're talking to, whether it's, you know, buying tents for the Boy Scouts, replacing the old tents for the Boy Scouts, and that person that you're talking to has a real passion and heart for Boy Scouts and appreciates that. Whatever it is, you never know, but each of your members need to be able to brag about it. So, and then the other thing that's really important is, you know, utilizing social media. It is really the most cost-effective way to get the message out. One of the things, if your club is not adept in social media, this is going to be hard. It's going to be a lot harder for you, and it's just not as impactful. But start somewhere. I know of one club that recognized that they didn't really have somebody in their club that knew how to manage social media, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Facebook seems to be the one where most everyone is, but we need to also adapt to some other ones too, because younger generation, they're in different social media platforms. So what this club did is that there was a young advertising company, or it was a person that had a small business for advertising, and they approached him and they said, look, we'll give you a free membership into our club if you could manage this. You know, if you don't have somebody in your club, that's thinking outside the box. They're trying to figure out a way to overcome one of their weaknesses. So I appreciate that they did that, and that really helped their club. So just make sure that all your members know what your club does. That's really important. So here we go back to the list, and again, that membership minute that I talked about before, about, you know, everybody coming in, writing down a potential member. Once you get that list of potential members, and by the way, a potential member could be a former Rotarian, either in your club or another club. Maybe your club's doing something different in your area that appeals to them, whether it's meeting time, meeting place, whatever. You know, we got, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, maybe more than that, former Rotarians who were able to join our alternate meeting. By the way, our club did an alternate meeting. It was extremely successful. There was a lot of things about that. I could talk about that story maybe at a different time, but that is something that's been attempted by a number of clubs, and it doesn't work for everybody. But these are the things that you can do to help your club grow Rotary. So when you get this list, make sure that you set aside a time on your board agendas to go through that list. And then you got to assign tasks, right? Who's going to reach out? When are you going to reach out? Follow up. Did we reach out to this person? What did they say? Make sure that you're making that list, spreadsheet, however you do it, and that you're following up on. we did that with our club, and it was a phenomenal list, and it was so much fun to go through it. We went through it weekly when we were in our growth mode, where we were, have you reached out to this person? Yes, they're going to come to the meeting on Monday. Great, that's awesome. And so you start getting successes. And then the last point there too is, don't ignore the obvious. For some clubs, it's going to be a challenge because of the makeup of their club. For them, they could be looking at different things. I have the last bullet point there is on grandkids. Don't forget your spouses. We have a number of spouses in our club. I see Sandra Bruce is on the call here. Her and her husband were were a couple that joined us. And Sandra will tell you proudly that our goal was to grow up to 100 members, and she was the 100th member for the Elizabethtown Club. But it was her and her husband, and she made me make her the 100th member and not Mark, so that she got that distinction. So, your sons and your daughters, don't forget about them. RILA students, oh my gosh, I mean, those kids are all blown away. They all come back with great experiences. Are we keeping in touch with them? Do we have a list of RILA students that we sent over the last many years? And can we find them? Does somebody know them? That's someplace where you can create that list. In our club, I've been around to a number of different clubs, and many of you have students of the month. And in our club, we always have the parents come one day. Those are potential students of the month. I mean, they're proud that their son was selected for this wonderful honor of being a student of the month. They're coming to this meeting. Hopefully they're having fun, and they're seeing all the different things that we're doing. Boy, if we're not asking them about joining Rotary, we're missing an opportunity. So don't be afraid to ask them. All right, moving on. I do want to open it up now for any thoughts or questions on anything that I mentioned so far.
Just a question from Joe Robinson asking if there's a reduced rate for multiple people living in the same household.
Well, there can be, right? And every club can handle that differently. And so I would call like dues and rates and things like that roadblocks. And we'll talk about them later, but the one message I'd want to get across is that we've been empowered by Rotary International to eliminate those roadblocks. So if it is a roadblock, you have the power to eliminate it, whatever that might be. And we can talk, I know in our club, I'm not sure if there is a discount. Sandra, is there a discount for spouses? Nope, there isn't right now, but there could be. I mean, that could be an option. So yes, you can offer discounts for all kinds of things. You can offer discounts for people who are in their 20s. Why not? I mean, they're just getting their career started. If dues is a roadblock, you can do something about it. So, all right, moving on. This one is the tough one, right? So be willing to change. And I didn't say embrace change. I just said be willing to change, okay? So, keep an open mind to change. That button that you see right there is a button that Dennis Zubler gave to me a couple years back. And as you can see, it has a big cross right out through we've always done it that way. And when I get around to different Rotary clubs, I hear that from time to time. Well, we've always done it that way. Well, if you're not asking the question, why are you doing that, and what benefit is it doing, and just asking the question, why are we doing that? Well, if the answer is we've always done it that way, maybe it might be time to have that cross, have that be X'd out. The one thing that I always think about with change and thinking about your club and overall health, think about that person who moved into your area. Maybe they're just getting their career started, and they're thinking that, what, I really should join a Rotary club. I was a Rotary student of the month, and I should look into joining Rotary. I think it's time. And so they go online and they find out that there's a Rotary club that meets just down the road. That meets just down the road, that meets on Tuesdays. Think about your club and think about that person that comes in without an invitation, and what are they coming into? is your club engaging? Is it fun? Is it motivating? If it's not, that person's probably not going to come back. So those are three things that I think are key within our Rotary events. Whenever we have a Rotary event, is it fun? Is it engaging? And is it motivating? Don't be afraid to try something new. If it doesn't work, let it go. If it keeps working, keep doing it, right? The Council of Legislation in 2016, they meet every 3 years. They came up with 2 proposals to create flexibility. They eliminated 6 barriers to some of the criteria. They opened the door for us to be creative. So if we're not taking advantage of that, then we're missing an opportunity. And they created this legislation, where they create the changes to the Constitution, so that we're able to do things creative. What works best for us. I've been exposed to a number of different clubs that just do things differently. There's a club up in New York that they meet, all they do is service projects. That's it. And it's very, very open. It's not your typical standard stereotypical Rotary meeting. It's completely different. There's a club that is just all former RILA students. That's up in New England somewhere.
Hey, Kevin, it looks like Joe has a question. Can he ask it now?
Sure.
Thank you, Una and Kevin. I'm enjoying the presentation. Let's just make one observation. I've been in this area all my life, but the Rotary Club, because perhaps sometimes where they meet and because of the membership fee, which I understand you said you're now empowered to remove that as an obstacle, and that's a good thing. There's a perception, I believe, maybe it exists in the white community, but certainly I believe in some of the African Americans, myself in one particular, I speak for myself, I always perceive the Rotary Club as being this elite group of people, and that that's not for me, because those are the movers and shakers, if you will, and I can't belong to those folks. And so how do you and I don't know if that's the way it works. Let's say you're in a rural county, I don't know, maybe that's not the perception, but in the city, that's kind of like a perception. So how do you get past that, people thinking that you almost have to almost get a special invitation to become a Rotary member, because that's perceived as a big deal. So how do you overcome that?
Well, that's a great question, Joe. And part of this Council of Legislation is that, and I forget how they had it worded, but basically, Rotary membership is open to anyone that has a heart for service. Do you want to make the world a better place? The answer is yes. Great. You should be a Rotarian.
Aren't we supposed to be movers and shakers?
And we can be. But we just want to make sure to Joe's point, there was a point where, we once had to be business owners. We also had to be male. We've gone through a couple different changes. Right now, Rotary is interested in getting people who want to make their community a better place, whatever that be, a national, global, local. That's what we're looking for people who want to make a positive influence in the world. More people who are on that side of the fight, we're better off. We're better off with people who want to make the world a better place. Joe, I don't know if I answered your question specifically on how to address the challenge of, or the perception.
No, you definitely answered the question, Kevin. You answered it. And I guess I was just raising it to let you know that in some circles, that's still a perception, and that I think that has to be recognized and then addressed. So no, you answered the question well, but I just wanted to put that out there that is a perception, perhaps in some quarters.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's a really good point that Joe's making, and I think Rotarians need to do a better job. One of the things that I find most interesting that might even be new information for Joe and people who are not Rotarians is that because of our international, because of the fact that we're an international organization, we are an extremely diverse organization worldwide. but in some communities, you just don't see it. So
Right.
we can all do a better job of promoting every color on the spectrum, every range of people is involved in Rotary around the world. And Rotary International puts out pictures and stories. And we just need to show that because it's an extremely diverse organization when you look at it from a worldwide lens.
Yeah.
Kevin, Roger Hipple here. Can I ask Joe a question?
Sure. I'm looking.
Joe, what do you consider yourself to be? Do you consider yourself to be a mover and shaker?
Well, only because I get to hang out with people like Una, but that's the only reason.
Well, no, it's what you perceive yourself to be. Now, I could perceive myself to be a disabled blind veteran,
Okay.
and that's not who I am. I'm the Group E Rotary Foundation coordinator. I serve on the membership committee of the Elizabethtown Rotary Club, and I've been in Rotary 33 years.
Wow.
And I've been a president of a chamber of commerce, and I've done all kinds of things, and a CEO of a corporation. You know, okay, I could have been a mover and a shaker, but
Sound like you were.
well, but I'm a Rotarian, and that gives me the opportunity to do things that other people just can't do to help their community. As a blind person, I went on 3 Rotary site missions.
Wow.
Okay. There are some things they will not let me do at the Elizabethtown Rotary Club. Work a chainsaw at the tree sale. I'm not allowed to be on the lot when they're doing that kind of stuff. But it's who you perceive yourself to be. If you, Joe, want to make this world a better place to be, like is the gut feeling of all of us Rotarians, my God, what are you doing standing on the sidelines?
Well, I think my point, and I appreciate that perspective. I think the issue is that a person may even think themselves a mover and a shaker, maybe, but not realizing that that Rotary is the place for them to self-actualize. And so in terms of making everybody aware that Rotary is for everybody, from whether you have a GED or a PhD, Rotary wants you. You know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you one of Rotary's big secrets.
Roger, we are at 6:30 and Kevin's only on number 4 and he's got 10.
Kev, go take it. You sure you tell Joe about the Rotary leadership training?
Joe is a mover and a shaker, and he is all over this Rotary business. So
okay.
I think Joe's going to be our newest Rotarian, but thank you for the dialogue.
Okay. Right. I yield back to Kev. Go ahead, Kev.
Thank you, Roger. All right, we move on to tip. Thanks, Joe, too. It's a good point. So going to tip number 5, look, we got to look to our young Rotarians for fresh ideas. If we have young Rotarians in our club, we need to be asking them, we need to be involving them in the decision making. I know in our club, Annika Brill, who was leadership of our Monday meeting the second year that it started, she was in her 20s. She also served on the committee for the alternate meeting before she was a Rotarian. Gave great input. Alyssa Roth will be the next year's Monday leader, and I think she's going to be the youngest leader ever in our club at 26 years old. So be making sure that we're giving them the reins, we're encouraging them, running under interference if we have to. Again, Rotary provides great leadership opportunity, and we need to make sure we're putting that in action when we bring on these young Rotarians. Give them opportunity to practice leadership and show their leadership. So look, tip number 6, you got to talk about Rotary wherever you go. Whether it's at work, whether it's with at family gatherings, if it's in the neighborhood, get-togethers, parties. We just need to be talking about Rotary and being on the lookout for people who want to make a positive difference in the world, a heart for service. Those people should be Rotarians. Dennis Zubler had the best way to invite someone to be sitting there talking with somebody, identify that this person's a good Rotarian, and he would just simply say, you should be a Rotarian. And Dennis, I think, has brought in 10 new Rotarians into our club over the last 4 years, and those 10 Rotarians also brought on other Rotarians. So one person asking that, actually not asking that question, making a statement, because it has a period at the end of it, you should be in Rotary, brought on about 14 people to our club. I always put in there, why aren't you in Rotary? And that's the question that Brenda Barlett asked me in 2006. Why aren't you in Rotary? And I didn't really have a good answer for her. Why aren't you in Rotary? You have a heart for service. You want to make the world a better place. You should be in Rotary. Or why aren't you in Rotary? So going back to our rule number 2, knowing what your club does, know what your club does for that community. Again, we're attract people who want to make the world a better place. Those are the people that I want on my team, right? I don't want the people who want to make the world a worse place. They can stay on that other team. I want to be on a team where people want to make the world a better place. All right, going up to number 7, tip number 7. So, we talked about the ground rules for a baseball game or the upfront contract or whatever it is. Okay, so, when you're talking to somebody, make sure that you have a list of what they know, what their obligations are. Make sure they understand what it is, what Rotary is about. This is a flyer that the Elizabethtown Club came up with their membership committee. We have a very talented graphic designer who took down all the ideas and then made it into a really, really good piece. And I don't know how well you can see it. I will share this. This piece as well as this presentation, as long as some other resources. Meant to do that early on before we got started here, but I have a zip file that I'll put into the chat area. But it basically shares about what Rotary is, it benefits that of being a Rotarian, and then what is asked of them. So we have in Elizabethtown we expect that you make 50% of the meetings. Now we have 8 meetings in a month. So they need to make 50% of 4 meetings. So there's 8 meetings that they have, because we have 2 meetings a week, 8 meetings a month, and they need to make 2 of those. So in this case, it's 25%. You don't have to make both weekly meetings. I got a little off track there. Made that a little bit confusing. But by the way, Jeffrey Catterat, the zone director, the outgoing zone director, always said that the days of the Rotary attendance police are over. We gotta be living in our Rotarians world. It's sometimes hard for them to make a meeting. I can say for myself, in the first 10 years that I was a Rotarian, I was traveling between New York and New Jersey. It was tough for me to make a meeting on Friday at noontime. I was only in Elizabethtown 1 day a week, and that was Friday, and I didn't always have the time to be there. So just be aware that your members have challenges, and if they're not there, it's not that they don't want to be there. It's just that they have a challenge right there. So make sure we're not too hard on them on the attendance. There's some other things that we have here: timely payment of dues, volunteer for the Christmas tree shift, participation in our sponsored activities. But on the second side here then is we have this, what's expected of new members. So we have a list of 7 different things, and we'd like our new members to do 4 of those. Attend a club board meeting, visit another club's weekly meeting, be a greeter for 2 club meetings, join a club committee, participate in a club service project, attend another Elizabethtown weekly meeting, or attend a district-sponsored event. So we asked them to do 4 things, so they know what's going to be asked of them to do. We don't want to just say, "Hey, join Rotary," and then they don't know what it is that we're expecting. This is kind of like the upfront contract. But again, we also give new member benefits to new members by, we'll pay 50% off their foundation dinner in that first year. We'll pay the full cost of the installation dinner. If they go to our installation dinner, they get. It's usually costs $25 to $30. They get to go for free. We pay full cost for Rotary Leadership Institute. Again, giving value to that leadership value, that leadership program, that development program that we have For leaders, we should be showing that value. And we'll also give credit of $40 towards a family or Rotary event. So make sure you're giving them benefits. So this is a wonderful piece. I wanted to share it with all of you. When we move on to, tip number 8, make sure that you're celebrating when you get new members. Does your club celebrate new members? Does it have a meaningful induction ceremony? And is it fun and is it vibrant? Does your club do a new member profile? And does your club make new members feel special? Any other thoughts or ideas on that? We have probably time for 1 or 2.
I'll share that we also, in the Rotary Club of Harrisburg, help connect our new members with a mentor. And that has been extremely beneficial to the new members so that they have someone they can look for at the meetings and talk with in between the meetings and really kind of guide them through the maze that it can feel like to be a new member.
I'm the Friday mentor person, and I love it. I love getting members, mentors, and we have a list of things, a whole lot of things that mentors can do then with a new member, and they can do some of those, and some of those are listed there. So yeah, mentors are fantastic.
Another thing you can do is you can recognize the Rotarians who brought in new members to give them a little attaboy.
Yep. There's new member pins. There's definitely celebrate it, any of those successes, right? They're positive. They have a way of snowballing, a positive and a positive and a positive and a positive. It just has a way of snowballing. All right, we're going to move on. Tip number 9, embrace diversity. And Joe, I think you gave you gave last month's training on diversity, correct? Oh yeah, I think you're on mute. Sorry. All right, sorry, Joe. I asked you.
Yes, I heard. I'm sorry. Yes, Una and I together did that. That is correct.
Yeah. So, look, one of the things that I talk about to a number of people, and again, I'm a sales guy, so I always look at selling points, right? So one thing that's unique about Rotary is that it's non-political, it's non-racial, it's non-religious, it's non-gender, in its membership qualifications. I can be sitting at a table with somebody who's completely different than I am, and that's celebrated, right? Mm-hmm. That's a breath of fresh air for a lot of places where they don't have to be, we're non-political, non-racial, non-religious, non-gender. You just have to, you have to have a heart for service, and that's who we want. Take advantage of that. That's a breath of fresh air. That's not a lot of people right now are looking for an escape from especially the political side. We're not one way or the other.
Some clubs that I have visited in our district are all male. Do we have clubs? Are all of our clubs male and female, or are there some one gender yet in our district?
Well, I haven't been to every single club. I know that that's a challenge for a lot. I know from like the story for me when it was my year and when I was president, and one of the things that I wanted, all of my goals were, my 3 main goals were based around membership, growing to 100 members, making us more diverse was the other goal. And it was a challenge in Elizabethtown to find ethnic diversity. But the one thing that we didn't have an excuse on is that we definitely had there was a 50% female population, right? And our club didn't represent 50%. So we definitely had no excuse in becoming more balanced as far as gender. So yeah, we just need to make sure that we're being as diverse. We're opening up our eyes as far as who we want to be in Rotary. And again, I'll go right to that bottom bullet point, heart for service. Yes, Una?
Hey, Kevin, I'm not sure if everyone on the call is aware that Rotary International has just nominated the first female president. Jennifer Jones will be the first female president of Rotary International in 2022-23. And I believe that will be a huge boost in helping to gain some gender balance, and not only gender balance in Rotary, but in Rotary leadership. They're really, to Joe's point about diversity earlier, there has been a male from many different countries serving as president of Rotary International, many different countries, many different colors. There has never been a female. And so this is groundbreaking for this organization, and I think it'll do a world of good.
So we need to take advantage of that.
Woohoo.
That's great. All right. So the other piece of it, and this is my last tip, I do have a bonus tip for you too. I always felt, I know people get asked this question, why did you join Rotary? And people will answer it, networking opportunities, or they'll answer it for, our focus on service. I really believe that if we want to attract millennials, we need to be talking about what we do in our community to make the world a better place. We need to emphasize service. To me, service, the networking piece happens, and it happens organically. And actually, it's stronger than when you come to, and I know Rotary Club, I've been to some Rotary Clubs where they're handing out business cards like it's candy. And I know a lot of clubs say that, you'll get fined if you do that, right? And you kind of see where where networking holds its value. I know for Elizabethtown, service is a big part of it. We've committed a service project committee that now has service projects that their goal is to have a service project once a month. And I think we have that, got stalled a little bit with the COVID situation, but we're picking it back up again. We're going to the Whittle Farm to help get food for the food bank. And then the next month we're going to the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. Make sure you're providing those opportunities for service. That's another good selling point is, if you find that person that has a heart for service, but they just don't know how to do it by themselves, well, join this already organized machine that they can just plug in that provides opportunities for service for them whenever it is convenient for them, or whenever it suits their schedule, or as many times as they want to go. I know there's a member here in our club who's on this call right now, Kevin Schaefer. If you throw an opportunity for service, he's there. That's why he joined Elizabethtown Rotary, because it allows him to provide that need for him to provide that service that he feels that he's giving back to the community. Do that for your clubs. So whether that's once a quarter, it doesn't have to be once a month. Some clubs, that might be a little daunting. If it's once a quarter, but commit yourself to having service projects so that you can talk about that when you're talking to potential new members about what it is that you do for your community. The other thing that you can do is, if there's smaller clubs, you can always piggyback with some other clubs. Any club that has a service project would be more than happy to have another Rotary member from another club come join them on a service project. Juliet Altenberg has created a meetup section for Rotary where you can go online and find out, post your service projects. I can go on there and find out what other clubs are doing, what Mechanicsburg North is doing. I maybe missed the service opportunity in Elizabethtown, and hey, they're doing this thing that's near and dear to me. I'm going to join them. So piggyback off of what other people are doing as well. So my bonus tip is this: you got to do something, right? Let's go back to that current state of where we are, where we're going down a little bit. We've got to do something. And again, I want more people on my team that have a heart for service. So I'm looking at all of you as to helping to get more of those people on our team. And the other thing that you got to do is that you got to have fun. You've got to have fun. If you're not having fun, it's not going to have that person come back. You got to be able to laugh. It just has to be engaging and inspiring and motivating, and most of all, it needs to be fun. So we talked about this a little bit. Look, on the Council of Legislation, you know, I kind of boil it down to this phrase here: if you can think it, you can do it. They've eliminated the roadblocks that if I go to, you know, I've traveled to a couple of different clubs and they said, well, you know, what about this? And what about that? What about attendance? And what about, you know, they have to be a business owner, or they have to, like, no. We have been empowered to eliminate those roadblocks. If it's not beneficial to your situation with your club, and if it's hindering membership, you have the power to change it. Whether it's dues, whether it's attendance, whether it's meeting time, whatever it is, you have the ability to change it. So I just put this summary here so that when you get this, you can look at the 10 list. This is kind of like a 30,000 foot view. I am going to put in into the chat area where you can download some resources where it kind of gets granular as far as some of these steps. I mean, these are kind of mindset things that you need to, you know, when you think about membership, you want to get your club behind this so that you've got everybody talking about growing Rotary. So I'll put, but there in the zip file, there's a little more granular about some of the, you know, the specific things that you really need to do. But this is more of a mindset to get your head around growing Rotary. Let's get people on our side, you know, who have a heart for service, who want to be a positive influence in the world. I'm excited about what I've seen in a number of different clubs, and we just need to get more clubs in line because we're again, we've got a problem that we need to be in charge of. So that's what I have here for today. I did want to show you this picture only because when Una asked me, do you have a headshot or a Rotary in action shot? I don't have that many Rotary in action shots of me. I really don't. That's because I'm the guy standing on the stool. Oh, by the way, the guy behind me, he was supposed to be spotting me. I'm 55 years old. I shouldn't be standing on a stool without somebody, you know, really spotting me.
He's doing a good job with his hands in his pocket too.
Yeah, he really wasn't much. When I got down, I said, no, let me hold on to you so I can step down. he wasn't sure what to do, but thankfully I didn't break my neck. But if you guys need to reach out to me, you want me to come talk to your club, or you want to talk about, yeah, we want to get this ball rolling. I can help you in like the granular piece of it, but really it's you got to find those white knights. You got to commit yourself to it, and you got to think, what can we do differently? So that's all I have. I'm open to any questions if we have any time.
It's great, Kevin. Just to reiterate what you're saying for everyone on the call, get in touch with Kevin to come be a speaker at your meeting or to come talk with your member. Kevin, I'm giving you more work, but
That's all right.
you know, to come talk to your membership committee and go through, like you said, on a more granular level. One quick note is that Rotary International said that with counting our Rotaract members as Rotarians now, that they don't have the number out, but they said we should be up to 2 million Rotarians once we start counting all the Rotaractors, and we can finally move that needle from 1.2 million Rotarians to 2 million Rotarians, which will be really, really exciting when they put that information out. John, can you tell us about the Passport Club and what that is and what we need to know about it?
Yeah, I can. And first, I'd like to thank Kevin. That was a spectacular presentation. I'm super grateful for you putting together. Una, thanks for making these things happen every month. I think there's a lot of value here, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to go back to their clubs with new ideas. So we have two things really to talk about. One is a Passport Club, which we've been trying to put together for almost a year now. And it got held up a little bit. It was a COVID holdup at RI, but we found out last week that we are official. So super excited about that. That's the Passport Club was created, and there's a lot of different versions of the Passport Club across the world. In our district, it's a district-wide Passport Club. So This means that if somebody can't make a Rotary meeting on a regular basis, or wants to be regional in their Rotary service work, or we actually capture some folks who are going to leave Rotary. You know, Una asked me when I became district governor nominee to try to put together some kind of safety net for people who were leaving Rotary that couldn't do Rotary in the traditional way anymore. And the Passport Club is a version of that. It allows for people who might be going to Florida for half the time, or may not be able to leave where they live anymore. They can be part of the Passport Club, be part of Rotary, be part of the solution. And so really it's a district-centric organization club. There's about 22 members that are in it right now. Some of them are brand new to Rotary, and some of them are Rotarians who are going to leave that are going to now stay. And so the requirement is we look for them to show up online once or twice a month to the meetings to do the club business, and then go visit other clubs throughout the district. Passport, meaning it's a passport to go to visit other clubs and see what they're doing and report back to the members of the Passport Club, and then engage in those service projects throughout the central Pennsylvania area, throughout the 7 counties that we're in. It's a very low structured kind of an organization. There's not a lot of to-dos about it, but it's a very much a great way for somebody to be a Rotarian, to give their gift back to the world through Rotary. When you cannot be part of the regular, the normal, the old style kind of structure. So super excited about that. Like I said, we have about 22 members, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about that more at length down the road. The other kind of club or meeting type, Kevin was so successful at helping to create at Elizabethtown this alternative meeting concept. The other kind of meeting that, or group or club that we've talked about, and Juliet has talked about this, our DGN, and that's really a vocationally centric kind of a satellite club, right? So we could build a satellite club in a hospital with just people that work in the hospital that want to work. They're already doing service. So why not use Rotary's tools and assets to do that better and easier? And so if you have an organization, a large business, for example, that has people that are in there that would love to be Rotarians, but don't necessarily have the ability to get to a meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning or at lunchtime or even at dinner time, but they could go to lunch in their place of business, if it's a hospital or a corporation or wherever, or maybe it's a nursing home and we have a bunch of people that would like to gather and do Rotary there. Those are kind of a newer concept of people gathering who are already together, maybe already doing service. So a vocationally centric kind of club and the Passport Club, those are 2 different kind of newer ideas that we're working on.
Exciting. John, one of the questions is there information on that Passport Club on the website, on the district website, which I don't recall seeing it there last time I looked.
I believe it is, but I will, if it's not there, it'll be there by the end of the week. We'll have something there for everybody.
Okay, so who asked that question? Check back on the website, Don Grabowski, check back on the website at the end of the week to make sure it's there. And Sandra Bruce wants to know, do we have a vehicle for Rotary membership dues scholarships for established Rotarians to sponsor new members who are just getting started? Does that exist on a district-wide level?
I don't believe it does, but what a fabulous idea at a club level. We've been talking about creating something called most of you have probably heard of a GoFundMe account to fund particular projects. One of the things that I've been noodling with some people about at the district level is to create a GoFundUs account at the district level, which would allow for a Rotaract club, for example, at one part of the district to be able to be funded by all the Rotarians around the district who want to help create that project that they're working on. This could be an example of that, a scholarship fund of types that could be a GoFundUs kind of a Rotary account. I'll have to think about that. Thank you. I'll write that down.
Yeah, we're looking at some of the comments, and there's a lot of great comments. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to put my file onto the list because I don't think I have access to adding a file. So Una or John, if you could add that zip file onto the, I can also
or send
have
it out.
Melissa send it out as well too.
We'll make it
Yeah.
available that way. I'm not sure how to add a file to a Zoom.
I'm not sure either. One more quick comment, and then I'll give the last word to Kevin as we wrap it up here. Rotary Means Business is also an exceptional way to recruit members. So, we can't meet in person, obviously, due to the COVID situation, but keep in touch with the online offerings for Rotary Means Business and bring people to that and get them interested in Rotary. It's a great door opener for Rotary membership. Kevin, you have about 4 minutes to wrap it up. What would you like?
Before you
Well,
do that,
nobody ever complains about getting out of a meeting early.
that's right.
I'll
Kevin,
say that.
before
So,
you do that, I just want to make sure everybody sees in the chat that Adeline was kind enough to post the link on our district site about the Passport Club. So if you need or desire information about it, you can go right there on the chat. There's the link. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Adeline.
yeah, thank you, Adeline. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad that so many people are interested in membership in Rotary. It's very rewarding. I keep telling people when I talk to them about Rotary that Rotary gives me an opportunity, and there's not a lot of places that do this. It gives me an opportunity to have 20-year-old friends, 30-year-old friends, 40-year-old friends, 50-year-old friends, 60-year-old friends, 70-year-old friends, 80-year-old friends, and 90-year-old friends. And a lot of times I get to work side by side with them in a service project. That's fantastic. You just don't get that at a lot of places. Rotary offers so much good things, and we just need to get excited about sharing it. So I appreciate spending this time with you guys, and I'm appreciative of your interest in growing Rotary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Big round of applause.
Woohoo!
Appreciate it. The next district development session is on Monday, September 14th, and the topic will be on Club Runner, and we actually have a representative from Club Runner who will be delivering the content. So if your club is interested in learning more, or you're already using Club Runner and you want to get more detail, please come to that session next month. John, any final words?
Just a final thank you to you, Una, for making this happen. Kevin, that was awesome. And for everybody coming to attend. If we're going to grow our Rotary, the only way we're going to be able to do it is to focus on it, like Kevin said, and this has been fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, all.
Good night.